Hello. Today we'll have a brief discussion about something which is of significant importance conceptually. In modern Western philosophy, René Descartes laid the groundwork for how we regard our sense of self. So we all know his famous words, I think, therefore I am, right? And we even tried to decipher or explain that in one of the previous videos. However, there are other ways to think about human personality that differ from this Western emphasis on individuality. One of them is the African philosophy of Ubuntu, a model in which our sense of self is shaped by relationships with other people. One of the things I retained from my stay and travels in Africa was the practice of Ubuntu. The philosophy of Ubuntu is at the heart of Bantu culture, though it has different names in different Bantu languages, and it is also found in other parts of Africa in different guises. Bantu people are the largest single ethnic and linguistic group of Africa. They number about 400 million, and they live in central, southern, eastern and southeast Africa. The word Ubuntu emanates from Zulu language in South Africa. It literally means humanness and is philosophically interpreted as I am because you are, as the idea of a universal bond connecting all humans. The leading modern advocate of Ubuntu philosophy has been Archbishop Desmond Tutu. In his book No Future Without Forgiveness, he describes a person with Ubuntu as open and available to others, affirming of others, somebody who has a proper self-assurance. Nelson Mandela called Ubuntu an African concept that means the profound sense that we are human only through the humanity of others. That if we are to accomplish anything in this world, it'll be an equal measure be due to the work and achievements of others. Ubuntu surpasses the tight confines of the nuclear family to embrace the expanded kinship network that is still prevalent in many African communities and many other places elsewhere in the world. As a philosophy, Ubuntu is an orientation to life that stands in contrast to rampant individualism and insensitive competitiveness. So here are the three things that we can learn from Ubuntu. Number one, Ubuntu shows us how to cherish, celebrate, live our own humanity. In most African cultures, the more one displays Ubuntu, that is, develop human excellence, the better one's life. This concept of the good life distinguishes the human way of living from the animal way of living. Unlike contemporary Western thought, Ubuntu does not focus on hedonic considerations. Instead, it centers on how our humanity is enriched by connections with other humans. The second, Ubuntu tells us to build communal relationship. Ubuntu teaches us to relate to others as if we are all parts of the same whole. More precisely, a sub-Saharan notion of the good life typically understands self-realization in terms of collective harmonious relationship. The more deeply we enter into community with others, the more fully human we become. The Ubuntu way of identifying with others is an unselfish way of conceiving themselves as we. It also urges to cultivate solidarity through engaging in helpful behavior with your attitudes, emotions, and motives being positively oriented towards others' good. So, while in Western philosophy inspired by Aristotle, self-realization doesn't much involve other persons. In many salient sub-Saharan worldviews, one is to realize oneself solely through others. Now, I'm not privileging one over the other. Both have their positive sides and have contributed to the humanity's understanding of self-realization. Third thing is Ubuntu always inspires right action. It invokes a variety of virtues, basing individual excellence on actions manifesting politeness, kindness, sympathy, compassion, benevolence, altruism, sacrifice, forgiveness, mercy, and tolerance. All of those are enumerated and emphasized. This notion of good life is intended to guide individuals in the choices they make, and it also plays a role in societal decision making in African countries. So, to put it in a nutshell, Ubuntu is an ethical perspective and way of life that makes us think if the quality of human life is enhanced merely by people feeling good as per our typical contemporary approach, or is it better promoted by people exhibiting virtues that make others' life better? Now, I'll not proffer an answer because this is something that is for you to contemplate, to reflect on, and there could be answer could lie somewhere in the balance, somewhere in the middle, somewhere along the way, but everybody has to find the answer for themselves. So for you, I will leave the answer to that to you. Thank you very much and see you next time.